Hello everyone, I greet you in the name of God Almighty. My name is Apostle Nathan Silas, and today we'll be discussing a very interesting topic with you by Douglas Murray, and of course they'll be discussing the values of Britain and then also immigration, and then looking at some of the effect of immigration to the values and cultures of Britain. And of course they had this debate in a sense at the Oxford University, and of course we'll be hearing different viewpoints in a sense concerning this. So if today happens to be the first time of you checking out my channel, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and follow me on my Facebook and Instagram. So guys, without any further ado, let's get down to this video and then hear their thought and opinion concerning this very topic.
Why is it now that we have this big, endless debate? Who are we? What are we? It's because we want to welcome people, but it's happened so fast, we have to end up doing things like saying Britishness is about fair play or being nice to people. Everyone wants to be nice to people.
You are about to see an epic debate that happened a few years ago at the Oxford Union. Douglas Murray showed up and left the entire Oxford Union completely speechless. The event revolved around the motion that post-war Britain has seen too much immigration. Douglas Murray argued that Britain's current immigration rate is unsustainable, and an Oxford student stood up to challenge him. Here's what the student had to say.
Okay, firstly, let us contend that the net economic benefits of immigration are a good thing. I don't think we can deny that immigrants claim less benefits and they contribute more to the economy, and frankly we milk our international students to provide even more money to the economy. And secondly, I would like to address the point raised by the last speaker. The last speaker said that there would be a spark that would trigger race riots. We should not be looking to placate the racist. We should be looking to educate society so that never happens. That's what we should be doing. And before we say that national ties, Proctor say, can bind people and create conflict, I am a human being on planet Earth in this country with this set of values, and I don't care whether you're black, white, where you came from. If you share our values, wish to contribute to our country, no thank you. I will happily welcome you with open arms into this country. And that is what has happened by and large. And for that reason, I believe it is inconceivable that you should vote against the motion, to vote for the motion, and I implore you all to reject it. Thank you very much.
Douglas Murray is about to give one of the most brutal responses to the student you have ever heard. The student was very animated, so let us summarize his arguments in simple terms. He believes that people who move to the country use less help from the government and actually add more to the economy, especially the students who come from other countries to study in the new country. Then, he talks about how important it is to teach people to be kind and accepting of others, instead of being scared that newcomers might cause problems. He believes that by learning and understanding more, everyone can live together more peacefully. Lastly, Brown says that what really matters is not where someone comes from or what they look like, but if they share the country's important values and are willing to be a part of its community. What the student is ignorant of, though, is the reality of what is actually happening. He is right in theory, but as he is about to find out from Douglas Murray, the real world does not always reflect the ideal world painted by universities. Douglas Murray did not hold back.
77% of the people in the British Social Attitudes poll last year said they wanted immigration to come down. Almost 60% said they wanted it to come down by a lot. That's the British people's opinion, and the politicians are simply, amazingly, having to try to answer that, and a serious need. Now, I'm aware that the bell has gone, but let me very quickly address the issue, if I can find it, that came up from a couple of people. And this is the key thing I really wanted to mention, if I may have a moment. This issue of our values. I hate hearing this we don't know who we are, because quite often it leads to the thing of we're not anything. Britain isn't anything, Britain never existed, it's not an identity, and so on. One of the reasons you hear that is because it is an attempt, I think an honest and a decent attempt by people to answer a real question. When you have migration at the rate this country has had it in recent years, you have to expand and water down your definition of what you are, because you have people coming in so fast that what would have been your definitions of yourself stop holding. If you asked somebody 50 years ago, what is Britishness? What are British values? They would have said it very clearly. They are epitomized in a set of historic institutions, in the institutions of Parliament, in the institutions of trial by jury and the High Courts, in the great schools and universities. They would have said the monarchy. They would have said the Church of England. Why is it now that we have this big, endless debate? Who are we? What are we? It's because we want to welcome people, but it's happened so fast, we have to end up doing things like saying Britishness is about fair play or being nice to people. Everyone wants to be nice to people. Very few people would say our identity as a country is being mean to people. But we water it down because it's what we think we have to do, and in a way we're right. In a way we're right, because it has become very difficult to say what Britishness is or can be or should be for people when immigration happens at this kind of rate. I would submit, ladies and gentlemen, this is something which in your lifetime and mine is going to be a colossal issue. Migration does bring all sorts of benefits. When it comes at this sort of rate, I would argue it also brings some very negative things as well. And one of the things that is that people of this country, including many, many immigrants, and I'll finish on this, many immigrants, including first and second generation immigrants, now say there is a problem with the speed of immigration because it changes the country. It is all very well to say that we are open to people who share our values. But if our values water down and the people who come here come at the rate they have, it is not surprising that we will end up arguing for immigration as an economic thing, because we will be giving up our culture, we will be giving up our identity, and we will be saying what some people now do say, which is that the peoples of Britain and Europe have lost their place in the world. I think it is right for people to have a place they call home, an identity that they're proud of. I think it for all people around the world, and I think it for the people of this country. And I hope tonight you can vote to say you think that too. Thank
you. Douglas Murray has just said a mouthful. Most people like the student who criticize Douglas Murray's arguments don't actually take time to understand his concerns. Douglas Murray is not against immigration, nor is he being racist. He is more concerned with uncontrolled immigration and the loss of culture in Britain and the West. In expanding on Murray's point, it is essential to consider the broader implications of uncontrolled immigration on social infrastructure and public services. The strain on healthcare, education, and housing cannot be overlooked, as these sectors struggle to accommodate the rapid increase in population. Furthermore, the challenge of integrating diverse cultures into a cohesive national narrative raises questions about the future of Britain's cultural landscape. Murray's concern extends beyond mere numbers. It's about preserving a sense of continuity and heritage that is intrinsic to national pride and unity. Statistics from the Office for National Statistics underline the rapid demographic changes occurring in the UK, with immigration contributing significantly to population growth. This growth, while beneficial in filling labor market gaps and fostering cultural diversity, also presents challenges in terms of integration and social harmony. The debate thus centers not on whether immigration is inherently good or bad, but on finding a sustainable model that balances economic needs with cultural preservation. Murray's critique resonates with a segment of the population that feels disconnected from the rapidly changing social landscape. This conversation is crucial for developing immigration policies that reflect a balanced understanding of the complexities involved in shaping a modern, cohesive, and resilient society.
Wow, that's a very interesting video, watching Maurice giving his thought and opinion concerning immigration. And then all I can add up to this is I totally agree with Douglas Murray on his stand on immigration, because to me I feels like Britain have tend to lose, or should I say forget, you understand, about its value system. And that is why, of course, just like how he was talking about the benefit of immigration and then also the problems immigration can also cause, I could say that Britain have somehow forgotten about their values, and then therefore, because of immigration, has bring in people, you understand, into Britain, and then therefore those people come with their different value system on how they understand things, and then therefore tend to influence, you understand, how Britain, you understand, do their things. Now there's a reason why I say so. For instance, of course, just like how you heard the student talking about students coming to Britain to come and study, and then therefore they tend to make the economy to grow. Of course, that is very important. But then I think one thing that the student may be failing to understand is some of the issues that immigration also bring to Britain. For instance, Britain has its own innocent values. We could talk about democracy, we could talk about rule of law, we could talk about the right of individual, or should I say freedom of people, all right, living in Britain. But then at the cost of that, of course, people have migrated from their country to Britain for different reasons. We don't necessarily have to look at it in terms of students who went there for better higher education. There are people who also migrate to Britain, not necessarily because they come to seek for higher education, but then therefore they want to also live there. But then at the cost of that, it means that there are people of different cultures and then diverse values. Therefore, since they find themselves, you understand, in Britain, of course, they would like to also practice, you understand, whatever they believe in or whatever their value system is. But then at the cost of that, tends to compromise, you understand, what Britain actually stand for. For instance, we tend to, or when I was a child, of course, I saw Britain to be people who respect, you understand, their rule of law. But then the reverse is the case, because for instance, I come from Nigeria, and then you could see that people tend to migrate to Britain, right? And then they want to stay there. Precisely our politicians. So what do you think they do? Nigeria happens to be a developing country with a lot of resources, you understand, that God has blessed us with. But then there is something that is happening. People migrate there. So why do they migrate? Especially people of the higher class. So some of the resources that are supposed to be used in developing our country is being used or is being sent to Britain. But then at the end of the day, of course, is going toward to improve their economy. But then at the end of the day, it makes them to compromise, you understand, their value system, which we knows them to be people who are not corrupt. But then at the end of the day, some of these politicians, they take on the money that's supposed to belong, you understand, to the people of Nigeria, take it to the Britain, and of course the system find a way of taking these people, right, and then they tend to reside, you understand, in Britain. And of course the people are fully, or the system is fully aware that these people, of course, they take this money from what that belongs to the people of Nigeria. But then they find a way of, you understand, accepting, you understand, these people into Britain, and then in the other way around, what compromise, you understand, the value system of Britain, to which, in a sense, Britain, in a sense, actually represent. So at that point in time, you could see that they are actually what causing problems, in a sense, for Britain. And I am just using Nigeria, in a sense, as an instance. And then there are so many instances that we can talk about, Ghana, and then a lot of, you understand, countries, in a sense, in Africa, for instance, right? But because of immigration, it makes them to tend to compromise, in a sense, their values. And then if you look at it in a sense, the other way around, then it causes what, a threat to the national what, security. And I'm just using Africa for an instance. And then we also have people who might come, you understand, from the Middle East and different places, you understand, around the world to Britain. And then at the end of the day, they tend to what, to cause, you understand, problems, in a sense, for the people of Britain. And that is why you see sometimes, in a sense, British values, of course, may not necessarily accept, in a sense, when it comes to polygamy. right? Yes, it may not accept, in a sense, polygamy, but because of, the people, in a sense, who lives in Africa, who comes with this kind of polygamy, in a sense, way of life, go to Britain, and of course they want to practice that. Then at this point in time, Britain values does not support it, you see. So at that point in time, it tends to bring, in a sense, problems, in a sense, for the people of Britain. So we have to look at this, in a sense, not basically because of the money or some of the things that you tend to better the economy, but then of course when they travel there in form of maybe probably for tourist reasons, or probably for education, and maybe probably at some point they may go back. I think that is a positive one. But immediately they are living there, of course they are going to come with their own value system, which at the end of the day, Britain will have to find a way of compromising, in a sense, its values in order to get the people. You see, the other way around, you cannot practice, in a sense, this democracy, and then at the same time you have to understand that it also comes with some kind of consequences. So I tend to agree with Douglas Murray, you understand, in this very situation. I know that a lot of you have thought an opinion concerning this very video, and I wanted to drop it at the comment section. Of course, it's a video that, of course, I want everyone to, in a sense, to kind of contribute to this. And may God bless you as you do so. So this is the end of my video. If you like my reaction, you should like, share, and subscribe. If you have any video you want me to react to, don't forget to drop it at the comment section, and I'm going to check it out. So guys, you remain blessed, and I see you in my next video. Bye bye.